Welcome back to Keep It Real Boxing. This is Cypher Box. Doing a few catch-up videos. Missed out on a bit of news last week. Wasn't able to put any content up, so I'm a little bit late with this one, but I still wanted to give my opinion on it. Now, as you know, recently Eddie Hearn did an interview pre-Joshua versus Parker with IFL TV, where he got his knickers in a twist a little bit, got very upset, very angry, very frustrated at the news that Deontay Wilder was not going to commentate for Sky Sports this weekend for Joshua versus Parker in their unification fight. And the reason for Deontay Wilder not coming to the UK was simple. Okay, he did an interview with the Boxing Voice to explain give his reasons and explain why. And it was quite simple. That when Sky Sports approached him to be a commentator for Saturday night's action, he said sure, he didn't mind doing it with one condition, which was that after the fight was over, providing Anthony Joshua had won, he would be able to step into the ring and challenge Anthony Joshua face to face. Of course, Sky Sports agreed to that, and then obviously later on down the line, his manager got back to him and said, guess what, it's not going to happen, they're not going to let you in the ring. Let's not forget, Anthony Joshua recently also said that he didn't want Wilder in the ring, he didn't want that kind of hype, he didn't want to hype the fight when the fight wasn't signed, etc, blah blah blah. Which Eddie Hearn echoed and repeated exactly what Anthony Joshua said. Okay, here's my take on it. Set up. That's right, Deontay Wilder was being set up. What they wanted, what Eddie Hearn, this is why Eddie Hearn got his knickers in a twist. This is why Eddie Hearn got all upset, all angry on IFL TV about that when he heard Deontay Wilder wasn't coming. Because the plan was to set him up. How people do not see that is beyond me. Okay? And shout out to Deontay Wilder for not coming out and falling for it. Yeah? Simply what was going to happen was Deontay Wilder was going to turn up, commentate, then try and get in the ring. They wouldn't have allowed it. Yeah? Then, guess who comes rocking up? That's right, Dillian Whyte. Yeah? The whole idea was to set Deontay Wilder up, to create a diversion. Yeah? A distraction. So people would stop talking about Joshua Wilder and start talking about Wilder and Dillian Whyte instead. That was the whole purpose there. They wanted to set him up. But Wilder proved he's too smart for that, wasn't going to fall for it. You know, a lot of people out there, you know, going, oh, you know, he talked all that talk, you know, blah, 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 and he's not turning up and stuff like that. Why should he? When you're not going to allow him to do what he wanted to do, which you agreed to as a broadcaster and said, yeah, we'll allow that to happen, no problem. But what I'm going to do here is play you an audio clip of Deontay Wilder on the Breakfast Club, where he basically talks about why he didn't come here to the UK for the fight and commentate for Sky Sports before I carry on with this video.
And the terms was, I get in the ring with Joshua at the end of the night. You know,
if he wins, because I picked Parker.
Right, if he wins, you know, and they said it was cool. They said it was all right. So I was like, all right, cool, I'll be over there. Then, you know, a couple of days later, I get a phone call from my manager. He was like saying that ain't gonna be able to happen because Joshua talking about upping the security on me. I even heard about restraining orders and stuff, saying he don't want to hype the fight, you know, for what, and you know, and his promoter, you know, he always manipulating the fans over there, always telling them different stories so they can bleed, because they don't want to fight me. You know what I mean? They don't want to fight me at all. Joshua has a fear of losing, and they know I'm the most dangerous man in this game, period. And, you know, and it just came about so many different situations. Hearn's always talking about, I need to raise the profile, I need to hype this fight a little bit more. But what better way to hype a fight like this when you got 70,000 people's there in the crowd and you got millions watching?
Exactly. Exactly what I've said. I said it in my last video about this subject. What better way to hype a fight? 78,000 in the stadium. The entire UK watching. The fight is being shown globally around the world, what better way to hype the fight than have Deontay Wilder step into the ring and challenge Anthony Joshua? Now, he said it in the boxing voice as well. He said he wasn't going to be disrespectful, but he was going to step up to Joshua and basically say to him, let's get it on. Let's find out who's undisputed. Let's find out who is the best. Let's have an undisputed champion. Let's do this. But instead of that, Eddie Hearn was pushing the Dillian Whyte agenda. You know, Deontay Wilder said it many times. He keeps saying it as well. He'll fight Dillian Whyte, providing you put Anthony Joshua on the contract. Yet no offer's been made. He's thrown out, I'll take whatever offer you throw me, as long as you take it in return. I'll take 60-40. No negotiations taken place. He even said on the Boxing Boys, Al Heyman has not been contacted by Eddie Hearn at all. No offer has been made to Al Heyman. You know, you got Eddie Hearn going around saying, well, we're talking to Al Heyman and his team. You know, we're not going to deal with Shelley Finkel because I can't work with him. But, you know, Al Heyman's the one that, you know, the team that I'm going to work with, and we can make that fight easily because we've done it before. And now you got Deontay Wilder saying, no, he hasn't even contacted Al Heyman. Al Heyman has said that himself. But instead, what he wants to do, he wants to make the fight with Dillian Whyte. Why? Simple. He's hoping Dillian Whyte, I've said this before, he's hoping Dillian Whyte will beat Deontay Wilder. Take that WBC belt, that satisfies Dillian Whyte, and then he can have a massive domestic unification fight between Anthony Joshua and Dillian Whyte. And I've told you before, all the money, after paying off the fighters, giving Sky Sports their cut, all the money goes to Mr. Eddie Hearn and Matchroom Boxing. And then he has a hold on the heavyweight division as well at the same time. But in all seriousness, as a boxing fan, why would you care to want to watch Deontay Wilder versus Dillian Whyte? When we're on the verge of seeing Deontay Wilder versus Anthony Joshua for the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. Why would you want to watch Dillian Whyte for? Who cares about Dillian Whyte? No disrespect to Dillian Whyte. I like Dillian Whyte, but who cares? We're on the verge of seeing an undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, and everyone's talking about Deontay Wilder versus Dillian Whyte. Really? I don't know what kind of boxing fans we've got out there, but pretty sure an undisputed championship fight trumps a regular world title defense against Dillian Whyte. And then there's a lot of people out there going to say, well, he's WBC #1 ranked, and some people actually think he's the mandatory challenger, which isn't the truth. You know, Dominic Breazeale's the mandatory challenger. Okay, but on that whole subject about mandatory defenses, mandatory challengers, etc., I'm going to play you another audio clip, and this is of the WBC president Maurcio Suliman. And in this audio clip, he talks about Deontay Wilder as a champion, and also talks about mandatory defenses. Listen to what he said, and he just did this interview recently. Listen to this.
Well, it's a natural thing. When you have success, there's a lot of obstacles that you have to overcome. And Wilder has proven over and over that he's a great champion, that he will face anyone, that he has determination and conviction to be clean. So I'm very proud of him, and he's doing his work, and eventually people will recognize him as one of great champions in the history of the boxing. No, we will support it. We want the best fights for the fans. He just did his mandatory defense against Steven, so he's free to engage in a voluntary defense unification bout.
So there you have it. Deontay Wilder is free to do whatever he wants, to fight whoever he wants. He's probably not going to be mandated a mandatory defense against anyone for about 12 months, I reckon. So if Dillian Whyte's hanging on to that one, he's going to have to wait a whole year for it. Maybe that's why he called Alexander Povetkin out last night. You know, because at the end of the day, he's not going to get anywhere with Deontay Wilder, let's be honest. While we're on that subject as well, this is a question I've been putting to people in comment sections. Yeah, in videos, etc., where I've been debating with individuals, and no one's ever answered the question. If you're Dillian Whyte, and I understand he's hungry for a world title, I get it, alright? If you're hungry for a world title, you don't care who you fight as long as you get that world title shot. So if you're not going to get it against Deontay Wilder, quite clearly, you know, unless certain conditions and stipulations are agreed to, if you're not going to get a shot against Deontay Wilder, then correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't Dillian Whyte have the same promoter as Anthony Joshua in Eddie Hearn? And hasn't Anthony Joshua said to, well, Eddie Hearn has said to Sky Sports in an interview recently, saying that whenever you ask Anthony Joshua who's at the top of his wish list in terms of opponents, he always says Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte says he wants a rematch with Anthony Joshua as well. So why don't you get Eddie Hearn to give you a title shot against Anthony Joshua? Because you're not going to get it against against Deontay Wilder. Why waste all that energy chasing Deontay Wilder when you've got a world title opportunity for 4 belts now against Anthony Joshua? Why? Why won't you make that fight? Why don't we see that fight next? I'll tell you why. Because there's more money involved in it if Dillian Whyte has a world title. Dillian Whyte knows this as well. He knows he's in a better position to negotiate for a higher stake in that fight. I think in the first fight he got something like £250,000, while AJ got $1 million. So Dillian Whyte's not an idiot, he's looking at it from a business point of view as well. That's why they're trying to chase down Deontay Wilder. There's more money in it. That fight will make more money, especially within the UK, if Dillian Whyte has a world title. So it's not the case that he wants a shot. He wants a shot against Deontay Wilder so he can go on and negotiate better against AJ. Now I'm going to play another audio clip here. And this is an audio clip of Carl Froch in an interview recently. And his thoughts on Dillian Whyte in this whole situation. And also who he puts the blame on for this fight between Wilder and Joshua not taking place yet. Listen to this.
I'm amongst the fans. I'm amongst quite a lot of hardcore fans as well. People who enjoy boxing and watch it. And there's a lot of people who don't want to see the Dillian Whyte fight. Not yet. Nothing against Dillian Whyte, but he needs to get some momentum going. He needs to beat a couple of decent names. Can't jump straight in with him. I don't see that. It's probably not realistic to ask that. So maybe Gerald Miller. That would be a good fight. Another fight worth watching that's going to still build. And then I think he needs to fight Wilder. I've said it anyway. I've said it from the start. I think the Wilder fight, because I think he beats Wilder in a great fight. It's a risky one. And then when he beats Wilder, he's got the WBC. Does he not want the green and gold belt? It's my first title I won. That is the best belt in the business. Get that belt. You've unified it. You're then the main man. AJ's the main man anyway, but you're officially the main man. And then he can defend against whoever he wants and pick and choose and do his mandatories. Get Wilder out of the way now. This is a big fight. Probably not next. Fight after next. Fight Wilder. Then defend against whoever you want for the next 5, 10 years, however long you want to reign for. Because I think AJ's that good. But I can see the risk. There's the big man out there, look. There's the reason the fight's not happening. I'm looking up at Eddie Hearn at the minute, by the way. He's not going to come down. He knows I'll put him under the car. Deontay Wilder's a great fighter, big puncher, awkward, but I think his technique isn't good enough to beat AJ. He can land a shot. If he lands a big shot on AJ and hits him on the chin, it could hurt him. And then he's one of them that when he tastes blood, he goes for the finish, and it could be a big upset for AJ. I don't think it would be, but it could be. But you've got to put AJ at the top. AJ's the man. But I'm a little bit biased as well. AJ's my mate. I like AJ. Rob trains him. My coach, my old coach. So people probably say, "Oh, Froch is going to say that," but the AJ Wilder fight is like, what is it? It's 60-40, 55-45 in AJ's favour. That's why I want to see it. AJ Wilder fight, yeah, it's going to happen. I think it should happen in the next couple of fights. I just don't want this fight to slip away for the next 2 years. Want to keep sticking AJ in there with the next man in line. I mean, the WBC title should be enough incentive to say for AJ to say, right, you know what, I want to fight Wilder. I want to go for him. He could do that after this one, which I don't think he will. We'll go for Miller, but after Miller, I think the crowd are going to start calling for it. The crowd are going to start making noise. The viewers, the paying public, they're going to start saying, good for the Wilder fight. Let's get it on. And I don't know if I'm upsetting people by saying he should fight Wilder, or if people agree with me. But obviously, you can see why the management team and everybody behind AJ would say, you know what, we don't need that fight yet. It's a little bit risky. But from a boxing fan.
So there you go. That's Carl Froch, and he's clearly saying that he feels Dillian Whyte needs to do more. I agree. Who's Dillian Whyte for? You know, everyone's talking about, well, who's Deontay Wilder for? Who's Deontay Wilder for? But who's Dillian Whyte for? Doesn't matter if he's number 1 ranked, because everyone's being dismissive of Deontay Wilder, right? Even though he's the WBC champion of the world. And saying that, oh, look at his record, who's he for? Bum squad, all this sort of stuff. Well, who's Dillian Whyte for? Fought AJ when they were coming up, and he's fought Derek Chisora, who's no disrespect to Chisora, but he's on a downward spiral when it comes to his career. That was probably his last big fight or big performance. He's just a gatekeeper now. He's not a contender. Do you know what I mean? But everyone questions, well, who's Deontay Wilder fight? Well, my question is, who's Dillian Whyte for? And don't say Lucas Brown. Yeah, because come on, look, he put in a professional performance against Lucas Brown, but Lucas Brown did not belong in that ring that night. Sorry. Easy win. So who's Dillian Whyte for to deserve that shot? Doesn't matter if he's ranked double, because by your rationale, you people out there who are blocking AJ versus Wilder, you're all saying who's Wilder for. Well, my question is, who's Dillian Whyte for? Even though Wilder's a WBC champion, you're still all blocking it. So who's Dillian Whyte for? Doesn't matter if he's number 1 ranked in the WBC, who's he for? Nobody. He's called out Alexander Povetkin the other night on the Joshua Parker undercard. After he beat David Price, he's now calling out Alexander Povetkin. That's the way he needs to go. Or fight a Luis Ortiz or a Dominic Brazil. Jarrell Miller. Basically what I'm saying is he needs to add more value to his stock before he starts calling out Deontay Wilder. And this is what I'm about. Some of you guys out there have been critical of what Deontay Wilder's done and who's he fought. But at the same time, you're saying, well, he has to fight Dillian Whyte. Why? Because what's Dillian Whyte done? Who's he fought? Like I said. But none of you want to see that. You'll all make excuses to me right now in my comment section. Oh, you know what you're talking about, you idiot. Whatever, I don't care what you think. Because I know I'm right in what I'm saying. Simple as that. Now, if you were to watch this interview with Carl Froch, you would see Eddie Hearn was invited to join in on the interview, and he didn't come down. He didn't join in because Carl Froch said it there himself, because he ain't going to come down, because he knows I'm going to put it on him. I'll put him under the cosh. I'll put him under the spotlight. Carl Froch was basically saying, I'll put you under pressure as to why the fight with Wilder and Joshua hasn't been made yet. What does that tell you about Eddie Hearn? Is he someone really you could trust in terms of his words? I doubt it. And with things he's saying, I doubt it. He's even questioned Anthony Joshua's desire to want to become undisputed champion. Does he not want that belt? Does he not want the WBC belt? You know, also saying that he doesn't believe the fight will happen next, but it needs to happen in the next 2 fights. So maybe fight Jarrell Miller, but then make the fight with Wilder and Joshua. Let's not wait around. We don't want to be waiting around for 2 years, 3 years like we have done in the past with fights like Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather, Triple G, Canelo, where we've waited far too long for these fights to be made. These two are both in their prime or entering their prime, and this fight needs to happen. You know, and this is a guy who's friends with AJ, friends with Eddie Hearn, works with Sky Sports, being completely honest with his opinion. You know, and he's even said that he's biased in the sense that he thinks AJ beats Wilder, but he still wants to see the fight. That's why he wants to see it. He sees it as a dangerous fight as well. But he also said at the end there, you know, maybe the management team, you know, they don't want Wilder right now because they see it as too dangerous of a fight to take right now. That's coming out of Carl Froch's mouth. Right, I'm going to play you another audio clip. Yeah, a little bit of Anthony Joshua's ring interview after his victory over Parker last night. Listen to this.
Well, if you did get him here, if you did meet him in a ring, what would you have to do to beat him?
What would I have to do to beat Wilder? Get him in the ring and I'll knock him spark out.
Thank you very much. Promoter Eddie Hearn, how realistic is what Anthony Joshua's just told us there?
It's realistic from our side. He's had 21 fights. He's got 4 belts. Deontay Wilder was supposed to be here tonight, but he pulled out. Last fight he boxed in front of about 7,000. Show Deontay Wilder what 80,000 sounds like.
Can you sit down and do serious negotiations with him and his team?
Andy, they don't want it. They've never approached us. He's here. He fights all the champions. He wins all the belts. At 22 fights, he has a chance to be the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Don't forget how fast he's moving. Deontay Wilder's people don't contact us. They don't want to know. He talks the talk. He can't walk the walk. And
So which is it? Are you talking to Al Heyman's team or not? Because in recent interviews you've been saying, oh, I've been talking to Al Heyman's team and we can negotiate that fight and make that fight, you know, between Wilder and Joshua really quickly and really easily. Working with Shelly Finkel, you know, that's an issue. But with Al Heyman, not a problem with him and his team. But now you're saying that they don't contact you back, they're difficult, etc, blah blah blah. Do you know what? Pick a story and stick to it, Eddie Hearn. Because you're not making sense. You're contradicting yourself all over again. I proved that in my last video, big time. Yeah, and I prove it in this video. And this is another good point. Let's not forget, Shelly Finkel recently showed a email publicly that Eddie Hearn said he would get back to Shelly Finkel with the numbers, and that he never did. Now, since then, Eddie Hearn's gone into his childish mode and nicknamed Shelly Finkel Shirley Wrinkle. Alright, it's a little bit funny, don't get me wrong, even I found it funny, yeah? But why did he do that? He did that for the same reason the way he reacted angrily when he found out Deontay Wilder wasn't turning up on Saturday night. Because Shelly Finkel had basically exposed him. So his reaction to that is to respond to it childishly and say that, oh, I can't work with Shelly Finkel, but I can work with Al Heyman's team. But now you're saying, Al, no one's contacting you back, even though Deontay Wilder, and he just said it on an IFL phone interview as well, saying that I'll take 60-40, I'll take 90-10, offer me whatever you offer me, I'll take it, as long as you take it in a rematch, because I'm that confident I'll knock your boy out. Notice how Deontay Wilder's story never changes. It's always the same narrative. It never changes. He says the same thing every time. But Eddie Hearn, he changes his story every 5 seconds. That's why I'm not buying this whole bullshit promoter talk from Eddie Hearn. His story continually changes all the time. While Deontay Wilder's story is always the same, all the way through. He says the same things, literally word for word, every time. Eddie Hearn goes back and forth and he contradicts himself. And like I said, I proved that in my last video on this subject, and I'll link it to the end of this video and you can watch what I said in that. And the funny thing is, Anthony Joshua also turned around and said recently that you don't dictate to me whether you come into my ring. You don't dictate to me and tell me what I need to do and what's going to happen and stuff like that. Well, have you ever thought Deontay Wilder has now turned around and had the same approach and thought, sod you lot. I'm not going to give in to you. I'm not going to allow you to dictate to me who I have to fight, that I have to fight Dillian Whyte, that I've got to come out to the UK. Especially if you're not going to let me in the ring, why should I come then? It's a way of Deontay Wilder saying that you don't control me. Yeah, I'm my own man. It's a way of sticking two fingers up at Eddie Hearn, and you can tell Eddie Hearn's made it no lie. There was recently an article on BoxingScene.com where he said that he would love to sign Deontay Wilder, but he ain't gonna get that. Deontay Wilder's not leaving his team. There's loads of things Eddie Hearn's been saying, that just don't add up. And the walls are now starting to close in. And the thing is that fans here in the UK, a lot of them, I know full well you all see it. You just all play dumb, like you don't see it. But you see it, it's clear as day. If I can see it, you can see it. That's why I seriously question your judgment. And I know there's some real fans out there, some real boxing fans here in the UK who see it too. And they're the same fans that are calling for this fight and they want to see this fight next. I don't believe every UK fan out here is trying to roadblock it. Yeah, he's trying to block this fight. There are some people out there who want to see the fight. I've seen comment sections, I've seen people in live chats and stuff like that where they're talking about it and they're jumping and saying, I'm from the UK, I want to see the fight next. And some of them are even Deontay Wilder fans. But don't act like you're blind to all of this. It's there in the face. Eddie Hearn, in my opinion, is lying through the skin of his teeth. And I agree with Carl Froch. Maybe the management team are thinking that. Maybe they have told AJ that. Maybe this is a bit too soon. This is too dangerous of a fight for you right now. Let's not have this fight. We need to stay clear of Deontay Wilder. Because that's how it feels like to me. I don't care about numbers, I don't care about percentages. All I want is I want to see this fight. I care about seeing unified and undisputed champions every weight class in boxing. And the heavyweight boxing is booming at the moment. This is the hottest topic in boxing, Joshua Wilder. Not only that, what happened in the ring in the interview with Anthony Joshua after the Parker fight, isn't that hyping up the fight between Wilder and AJ? I thought you guys didn't want to hype or bring any hype to the fight because the contracts hadn't been signed. The fight hadn't been signed. The fight hadn't been made. So I said this in my last video. Why are you talking about it? You've got no right to talk about any potential fights until you sign them. Because you don't want to bring the hype. Right? And it's quite funny, they all piped up when Deontay Wilder wasn't around. A lot of people are saying, oh, Deontay Wilder ain't coming out because he's scared. Hold on. I got the feeling that Eddie Hearn and AJ suddenly got really brave in the ring because Deontay Wilder wasn't there. I wonder if they would have talked like that if Deontay Wilder was there. I guarantee you they wouldn't have, because then that would have encouraged Deontay Wilder to step up on the ropes and say, hey, let me in. You want to talk about me, talk to me to my face. They wouldn't have done it if Deontay Wilder was there. But they were all brave because Deontay Wilder wasn't around. If you were going to talk like that, you might as well just allowed him to come in the ring on the night. Again, doesn't make sense. None of this stuff makes sense. It's all bullshit as far as I'm concerned. It's smokescreen to fool you guys and manipulate you guys. And some of you guys are buying it, and I know some of you guys see it as well, but you're just plain dumb because you don't want to admit to it. This fight needs to happen next. Yeah, I'm happy for him to go and fight Jarrell Miller or whatever, even though Jarrell Miller, who's he fought, and you're going to give him a title shot, but okay, kind of like Dillian Whyte, who's he fought? But if you want that fight, fine, but the fight after that, I agree with Carl Froch, it needs to happen. 2018, we need to see Joshua versus Wilder. No more excuses. Seriously, getting sick of it now. And going back to you know, the in-ring activity last night after the Parker fight. You know what? They were saying that they didn't want to let Deontay Wilder into the ring, but Deontay Wilder could talk from the side of the ring. He could talk at the press conferences. He could talk at the weigh-in. But Deontay Wilder made a good point. He goes, why am I going to do that for? He goes, why am I going to do that to Joseph Parker or any fighter? I wouldn't do that to any fighter, you know, because they're preparing to go into a fight. Why am I going to start sticking my nose in, you know, at the weigh-in and saying, oh, you're a chicken and or whatever, calling out AJ? Why am I going to do it at their press conferences while they're preparing for the fight? I'm going to wait till after the fight is done. Then I'm going to open my mouth up. Yeah? He said it doesn't make sense to do it before the fight is over. You know, and I agree with him as well. Why would you do that? Wouldn't make sense. And his point was, he goes, it's unfair because end of the day it's unfair to Joseph Parker. Joseph Parker's trying to prepare for a fight. You know, it's his moment. I'm not going to step on it. Once the fight's done, if AJ beats Parker, that's it. Done. Moment's over. Now I can step in. So again, but then again, they weren't going to allow him to do that anyway. Let's be honest. They wouldn't have allowed him to do that. It was all talk, in my opinion. A setup. The setup was to try and get Dillian Whyte to act as a roadblock, act as a bodyguard. Yeah? That's what Dillian Whyte is. Eddie Hearn's using Dillian Whyte as Anthony Joshua's bodyguard. Well, he was trying to, and it's backfired on him. Now Dillian Whyte's like, oh, I'll fight Alexander Povetkin now. Because they know they haven't got a leg to stand on. They can't make Deontay Wilder fight him. If they do want to make that fight with Deontay Wilder between Dillian Whyte, they know they've got to attach Anthony Joshua's name to the contract, which I don't believe, even though AJ said it recently to Radio Raheem, and Eddie Hearn's been saying it to IFL TV and other sources, saying that we'll happily, you know, attach Anthony Joshua's name to Dillian Whyte. For some reason, I don't believe it. I don't believe he wants to do it. They may do it if they're forced to do it because they haven't got a choice. But in all honesty, I don't believe he wants to do that. Otherwise, you would have made the fight by now with Dillian Whyte, wouldn't you? Anyway, that's my take on it. That's my opinion on the whole situation currently. You know, if you want to see more what I have to say, especially in my last video in terms of how Eddie Hearn contradicted himself, then go and take a look at that, where he's contradicted himself so many times. I've proven it and pointed it out so many times. Look, listen, end of the day, yeah, I'm just getting sick of all this nonsense. For me, this isn't a UK versus US thing. I've said it before, my patriotic side comes out on fight night. This isn't a UK US thing for me. This isn't a Wilder versus AJ thing for me in terms of, do I like one more than the other? I'm not a fanboy like that. I'm a boxing fan, for crying out loud. I just want to see the best fights. I want to see the best versus the best. I want to see champions versus champions. I want to see undisputed champions. In short, I want to see what's best for the sport of boxing. And this fight right now is the best thing for the sport of boxing. The hype is there. Everyone knows who Deontay Wilder is. I don't want to hear that excuse. Everyone knows who Deontay Wilder is. Because if you didn't, then how are all you UK fans talking about Deontay Wilder if you don't know who he is? People know who he is in the US as well. Don't want to hear that excuse. People know who he is globally now. His stock has risen massively. Now, especially after his victory with Stavern and then now with Ortiz, definitely. Simple as that. Don't want to hear any more excuses. Don't want to hear any more, you know, none of this, oh, he hasn't done this. I don't want to hear it all. I don't want to hear none of it. It's all excuses. I don't understand you guys out there. I don't understand why you don't want to see this fight. What are you afraid of? What are you scared of? You know, you shouldn't be scared of anything. You're boxing fans. You're supposed to be boxing fans. You shouldn't care. All you should be focused on is pushing and demanding for the best fights out there. And the best fight out there at the moment in the sport of boxing, and especially in the heavyweight division, is Deontay Wilder versus Anthony Joshua for the undisputed heavyweight championship in the world. Don't want to hear about Tyson Fury, he's not ready. Nowhere near ready, it'll be a year before he's ready. So that's what you should be demanding for. The best fight. And that is the best fight. Wilder versus Joshua, Joshua versus Wilder, however you want to call it, for the undisputed championship of the world. Heavyweight championship of the world, should I say. Alright, that's all I've got for you on this one. As always guys, like, share and subscribe. I'm sure some of you are gonna hate, as always. Until next time, this is Cypherbox reminding you to keep it real.